Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to this week's segment of Live Without Limits. Today's show is titled, How to Sell If You Hate Selling. And why are we going to talk about the topic of sales today? No matter what business you're in, you're selling. You're selling yourself. You're selling yourself through relationships. You're selling yourself through the product. You're actually selling who you are by the kind of relationship that you have built up with your customer over time. A guide, how to sell and persuade. Do you want to make more money sharing your wisdom with the world? Me too. So how do we do that? First, you create value and solve a problem. Second, you learn how to sell people on the fact that they need a solution to their problem that you have. Screeeeeech! I can hear some of you hitting the brakes in your mind. Selling? I hate selling. I'm terrible at selling. And besides, selling is for sleazy, slick-haired salesmen like Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross. Listen, I understand your resistance. My parents were always making snide remarks about salespeople and always looked at sales as a battle between buyer and seller. Have you ever seen the ad that Toyota uses when they want to talk about their big sale? And lately they've been running one where he goes, I show no emotion. So he never says anything, but all of a sudden his hands go up and you see them flapping, and it's like he's really excited about the price. So the idea is, how are you going to get that reaction from your customer? Listen, I understand your resistance. My parents were always making snide remarks about salespeople and always looked at salespeople as a fight between the buyer and the seller. But selling makes the world go round. It makes the world better too. To sell, well, is to convince someone else to part with their resources, not to deprive that person, but to leave him better off. In the end, says author Daniel H. Pink in his book, To Sell is Human. Even if you're not a salesman, the truth is that your every conversation, email, and interaction you have each day, you are selling. In this, you are persuading. We are always trying to convince another person to share our point of view, to accept our offer, whether the assistance or of commercial intent, or to do something we want them to do. Take, for example, getting your children to brush their teeth. You show them the benefits. You give them a deadline. You mention the consequences for missing said deadline. Can you see that you are always selling, persuading, and convincing. So, what we're telling you is in every interaction you have, in some way, you are selling. Whether it's to yourself, whether it's to your children, whether it's in a buyer situation. The idea is to make it as enticing and as encouraging as possible. Here's the good news about selling. If you can hold a conversation with a barista at Starbucks, if you can listen patiently, and if you can follow a system, then you can become a good, if not great, salesperson to help you become better at selling and persuading so that you can make the world a better place. I'm giving you 5 sales secrets that my good friend, Bedros Keuilian. No one is better at selling in a California cool style than Bedros. He's the sales guru that other sales gurus like Frank Kern go to for advice. Bedros and last year I hired Bedros to help me go from zero to hero in terms of my phone sales skills. It's an essential part of my business transformation because selling via phone and in face-to-face conversations is how I convince people to attend my workshops or to hire me to speak at their events. The best way to get better at a sales call is to do more of them and to get expert feedback on how to get better. We would practice a sales call with each other and his acting as a prospect on my workshops. After several calls and dramatic improvement in my abilities, I asked to see the master in motion. So we switched our roles. I played the part of a potential coaching client for Bedros, the Domination Day program of which I'm a client, and had him take me through his sales process. Here's what I learned watching the master at work. Pump up the positive past. Focus on the prospect's positive results. Acknowledge that they have already accomplished. Prove the concept that your system works. Demonstrate that your expertise solved the problem for them, thus proving your system. Okay. Everything you do has a system to it. Each industry has its own industry, but it's still a system that you have to work. Give up the present reality. Show them the gap between they are and where they want to be. Show them what's wrong with what they are doing now. Show them they are good at X, but need help with Y. And yet Y is the most important variable in their future success. Set up the future pace. Should show them that you know the secrets that will change their life. Solve another problem. Show them what their life will be like in the future once they've used your solution. Show social proof. Sprinkle in case studies proving it will work for the prospect. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is show you how you are selling. You're selling yourself. You're selling something that people need. And that need will always be there. So where are you going to be when it comes to sales and selling your product? The problem is that for so many, we don't actually understand what selling is and how to use it to create what it is that you have to do. Okay, so then you set up the future or the future pace. Show them you know the secrets that will change their life. Solve another problem. Show them what their life would be like in the future once they've used your solution. Show social proof. Sprinkle in case studies proving it will work for the prospect. Level up the offer. Clearly communicate the value. Clearly communicate the deliverable abilities. Clearly communicate the expectations of the program. Close up the sale. Remind them the value of the results are worth 10 to 100 times the investment. Close the sale, confirm the sale, and take the payment. Clearly communicate the next steps in the program. Oh, and there's one more thing that's a bit of warming actually. Do not talk yourself out of the sale. It's a habit many beginner sales folks do. We keep on talking and promising the world and saying things that don't need to be said. So when you are selling, know and be able to read someone to know when they're hooked, and shut up and wait for their response, because you can actually talk yourself out of the sale just by keeping talking. When you understand how you can affect how you do business, how your customer sees your business, and it is a system, remember that. It's a habit many beginner salespeople do. That is, they talk themselves out of the sales. We keep talking, promising the world, and saying things that don't need to be said. Once the client is committed, resist the urge to keep yammering on. Instead, close the sale, confirm it, take payment, and tell them to await further instructions from your team member in charge of delivering the experience. That's it. The formula for improving the world and bettering your life is simple. Create value, sell the value, deliver the value. And if I can do it, so can you. And it's very important to understand just how you can sell yourself. Okay, so let me just go through some 5 ways that you can sell yourself in an interview. Know your brand. Think of Red Bull, Dove, or Chipotle, says Napier. Be a storyteller, just as it is for brands. Storytelling is crucial in an interview. Know your audience. Show, don't tell. Look for brand matches. And these are very important. These are some things to consider when you are in an interview. The problem is that we don't always think about that. So let's look at how do you sell yourself. What are some good tips that you can do that can help you in an interview? How many golf balls fit inside an airplane? How would you describe the internet to a 3-year-old? What is your biggest weaknesses? Companies have been known to ask these types of tough brain teasers during an interview. And even if they don't ask absolute head scratchers, you're still likely to come up against a few questions that stop you in your tracks. The following sections explain how to keep your cool and land the job. Sell yourself. Instead of worrying about all the little things that can go wrong during an interview, you need to start focusing on the big picture. It's your job to sell yourself as the right candidate for the job, according to entrepreneur James Clear, who said you don't need to bloat your professional achievements. Just make sure that you paint the best possible picture of yourself. Reverse roles. Instead of feeling like you're headed into an inquisition, try taking a more active role during the interview, asking a lot of questions to make sure that the job is the right one for you. Clear suggested that in order to be enthusiastic during an interview, you should only apply to jobs that you're really interested in. This will help you to fully be engaged during the interview process and ask more questions about the company and the position. It's always best to focus on a few jobs that you really want, then tailor your resume to each specific opening. Do your research. Before you interview, do as much research as you can about the company. This will help you ask important questions, but will also let the interviewer know that you understand what the company does and what your role would be if you got a job. You should also try to relate what you know about the position when you're answering the questions. Be prepared. Being prepared means more than just practicing your interview questions and making sure that you arrive in time. It also means that you need to know exactly why you're applying for a job. If you understand the real reasons why you want the job in the first place, it will help drive a lot of your answers during the interview. Create your go-to list. Now, we have been talking about some of the aspects that will help you build up your knowledge and your base. And the idea is that when you are looking for a job, you are actually selling yourself. So remember this. And let's go back over this. How to create your go-to list. Clear said that once you understand what the company wants and why you're a good fit, you can create I can handle it list. This list will help highlight certain accomplishments from your past and compare them to job duties in the largest position. In essence, I'll improve that you can handle the job. Also, think about creating a list of sound bites and some sentences that you want to include throughout the interview. These short phrases are a great jumping off point for telling stories or giving examples of how you used your skills to resolve problems or a good team player. Avoid missteps. There are also many common mistakes that you can make that could ruin your chance of landing the job. Then you need to make sure that you're not distracting. So never bring a drink or food into your interview. Also, turn off your cell phone. Pay close attention to what the interviewer is saying, and don't talk too much about irrelevant issues. Follow up. Always make sure you follow the interview with a thank you note to each person you met. You can send a quick email immediately after the meeting, but always make sure to also send one snail mail message telling them why you're excited about working with the company. And these are some valid points of what you're doing to sell yourself in an interview and why it is important to understand how you are selling no matter what you're doing in your life, because that is what we have been talking about, is selling yourself. And this is the big thing that many people don't always think about, is that whatever relationship you're building up, you are a salesman with that person, your product, whatever it is, you are selling. You have to understand how to take it and take it to the next level in building up who you are in an interview and create the opportunities for yourself that will give you what it is that you truly want in who that what you are doing is you are selling yourself. And as a salesperson, understand how you are selling yourself to your customer, to the employer, to whatever type of business you're in. Everything you do is a sales position. And how you build that kind of sales for yourself is how you are going to succeed in your choices. Now, let's back up a little bit, and we're going to talk about the things that you need to do to get the sale. And remember, we have been talking about a system. The system is whatever works in your business. So, the first thing you need to do is pump up the positive past. Focus on your prospects' positive results. Acknowledge that they have already accomplished. That is, what you want to do is acknowledge all the things. Like if you're going to a company and you know that they have an issue that they specifically need help in, then acknowledge where they are, but also say something about what you can do that can help them improve their bottom line. and prove the concept that your system works. Demonstrate that your expertise can solve a problem for them, thus proving your system. Gap up the present reality. Show them that the gap between where they are and where they want to be, and how you can help them to get to where they want to be. Show them what's wrong with what they are doing now. Because you know what? The way they are handling, how they are in the interview, changes need to be made. Show them how they can make that little subtle change and how it can turn things around for them. And show them that they're good at X but need help at Y, in that we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we're very good in areas where our strengths are, but we may be very poor in areas where our weaknesses are, and we either need help to change that around to improve it, or you might need to delegate that job to someone else. And it's understanding and knowing how to do that that makes it all work together. Set up the future pace. Show them that you know the secrets that will change their life, solve another problem. Show them that what their life will be like in the future once they've used your solution. Show social proof. Sprinkle the case studies proving that it will work for the prospect. So in essence, what you are doing here is, if you've been doing this before, if you've had a customer that you've helped, always use that as an example with your client. Because you know what? Then what you're doing is showing them how you can help them change, how you can help them improve their bottom line. And you know what? It's up to you to know what it is that you can do to help change someone else's life and make it work for the better. We all have strengths. If you understand communication and your behavioral style, you understand how you communicate in a way that benefits your client. And remember to learn the system in your industry. Like if you're doing content writing, if you're building a website, if you're marketing, you need to understand search engine optimization. You need to understand how to use social media. You need to learn how to use the tools that are in your industry to build the opportunity for you to make the sales that you want to make that affects your bottom line. And remember, you can go to my website, and that website is the #1 personalcareercoach.com. I have a number of articles on there that you can read that will explain to you how I can help you build your business and take it to the next level.